These are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Welcome to today's webinar entitled Simply Wi-Fi Show Me the Money. My name is Adlane Fellah, and I'm the Content Marketing Officer for Wi-Fi 360, the only content marketing agency for the Wi-Fi industry. I bet you're all interested in Wi-Fi, and more importantly, how to make money with Wi-Fi. Well, during this webinar, Magnus Johansson, Special Advisor at Wigo, a 100% Wi-Fi service provider, will present how social Wi-Fi, location awareness, and hyperlocation-based communication enables monetization of free venue-based Wi-Fi services. Preceding Magnus, we will hear a few words by well-known Wi-Fi evangelist Claus Hetting, who will share his excitement about the upcoming Wi-Fi Offload Summit event in Palo Alto, June 18 and 19. So the agenda for today is preceded by some commonly asked questions. The event is being recorded and the slide deck will be made available to you in the next 24 hours. For those that are not familiar with the GoToWebinar interface, this is just a few indicators of how to use the dashboard. You can use the grab tab to close and open the panel, remove it from your screen. You can choose between different audio options, microphone, speakers, or telephone if you're experiencing any audio problems. We encourage you to submit questions and answers, questions during the webinar. This is a 30-minute webinar, so we understand and realize that your time is valuable, and we try to compress the presentations within 30 minutes. It may overlap to 35 minutes to enable us to answer some of your questions. Before I move on to class, I would like to launch the first poll here and ask you whether you have a content marketing strategy. So please take a few seconds to answer this important question. And then we'll be sharing the results of the poll. I'll give it a few more seconds for people to respond, and I will close now the poll and share it. Since the majority of you do not have a content marketing strategy to tell your Wi-Fi story, which is in line with some of the answers we received during the registration, and some of you just don't know because that's just not part of their job description. Without further ado, I would like to invite Claus to unmute himself and join us. Claus?
Yes, Adlan, I'm here. All right, thanks, Adlan, for giving me this opportunity. It's great to be here. I understand there's a lot of people in the audience, which is great. And I just want to take maybe about 5 minutes of your time to introduce you to the Wi-Fi event of the year, which has been given the additional title Wi-Fi Offload and Beyond, because we're working both very hard on all the issues around Wi-Fi Offload, and we're taking it well beyond that because we'll be looking also together with Magnus, whom you'll hear speak a little bit later, at all the other opportunities for monetizing public Wi-Fi. So I'm the chairman of the Wi-Fi Offload Summit. If you want to contact me directly on any issue, you've got my email there. You're welcome to do so.
Claus, can you show us your screen, because we can still see, we cannot see your screen yet.
Can you not see the screen?
Let me make myself the presenter and then give you back the control. There you go. We press OK.
There we go. Can you see now?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So I was just saying, you're welcome to contact me if you want to discuss Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi issues. I'm very happy to talk to people. I do that all the time, so you're most welcome to do that. So let me give you my 3-minute view of what's going on in the industry right now. So first of all, you should all know it, but in fact, the mobile network operators, they're not doing particularly well. And if you look at the results that have been coming out recently, a lot of operators out there are actually losing ground and with declining earnings. At the same time, we all know that traffic is massive, and that spectrum is not. So we are getting closer and closer to the physical limits of what mobile networks can handle. There's not a lot of new spectrum coming out. The answer to that, of course, was originally the introduction of small cells to handle all this. Most of the projections and the predictions of the big upcoming small cells market has generally not happened, except maybe with a couple of small exceptions. And one of the big reasons for that is really that Wi-Fi is everywhere. So there's a lot of people out there turning to Wi-Fi. Actually, right now in mature markets, about 80% of the traffic, 70 to 80% of the traffic on smartphones runs over Wi-Fi, of course at home, but also increasingly in public places and through OTT providers and so on. So this is really an area to really have a concerted look at, and that's one of the big reasons why we're doing the Wi-Fi Offload Summit. So the conclusion is, and I've been looking at this for years, the Wi-Fi area for years, after spending about 20 years in the mobile industry, I've decided that the future is in the Wi-Fi industry. I really believe that Wi-Fi is the biggest opportunity in telecoms right now. And when I say Wi-Fi, I mean carrier Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi in all its forms. And the fact is, in fact, actually, that all the technology is here, and it's here today, meaning it's actually been available for maybe a couple of years now. But there's also an important but, and the but is that you really need to understand what's going on. So you really need to get the right information. You need to find out what you can use this information for through insight and the right partners. And this is really the mission of the Wi-Fi Offload Summit 2014. It'll be happening in Palo Alto, California, about 2 weeks from now on June 18th, 19th. And we have collected the sharpest minds in the industry to attack some of these issues head on. And one of the big issues that we'll be attacking is how to monetize carrier Wi-Fi. So this is shaping up as an excellent event. We've got a lot of interest, and you're going to be really interested in this. I'm going to show you a little bit more just now. So first of all, let me give you the reasons why you should join us. We've got 2 days. We've got monetization day, where we'll be zooming in on all the options for making money on public Wi-Fi, and we've got industry leaders presented. Magnus will be there presenting his view on what he's doing with Wigo, and we have a number of exciting new technology providers from the Silicon Valley area, also some coming from overseas, that are leading the charge in cloud Wi-Fi, how to monetize with advertising, location-based services, location analytics. These are super interesting areas that are just coming out now. So if you want to know about that, this is really the program for you. On the 19th, it's Summit Day, which is going to be carrier focused. So some carriers are starting to embrace Wi-Fi. We're going to be hearing from AT&T, Time Warner Cable, the big MSO in the United States. Sprint, Scratch Wireless is an exciting MVNO with what they call a Wi-Fi first business model. iPass, Boingo are existing wireless ISPs that are doing extremely well. And we have a series of other companies that are going to be presenting. So you'll be in excellent company also on Summit Day, which is, as I said, where we're focusing on the offload story and where the carriers will be there. So just in case you're not sure who you're going to meet, I can promise you you'll be in good company. This is the list of the speakers and a lot of the companies that have registered already. So our mission has been to unite the entire Wi-Fi ecosystem in one event, and I dare say that we've managed to do that. So we've got some of the big the biggest device companies, internet companies, OTT providers, most of the big carriers, and a lot of the leading Wi-Fi technology companies, both in America and elsewhere, are going to be there. It's really an outstanding opportunity to meet these people in person, ask the right questions, and of course understand the entire ecosystem from the inside. So, and this is really what's going to be happening on both the 18th and 19th of June. And there's a lot more than those as well. So I really recommend that you register today. Go have a look at the full program on www.wifiOffloadSummit.com. And if you have any questions about it, you can contact me directly on claus@hettingconsulting.com. I'm very happy to speak to you, and I really hope to see you there. Adlane, that's it.
Thank you, Klaus. So before I head it to Magnus, I would like to share a few slides about Wi-Fi 360. Our mission is to empower you, the Wi-Fi professionals, to monetize the Wi-Fi opportunity. And how do we do that? We're a boutique content marketing agency dedicated to helping you tell your story to the relevant audience. In today's market, content is everything. But content has to be useful to your prospects for them to take notice in the current deluge of content marketing. So we put your solutions in the context of your customer's perspective to solve their problems. The reality is there's a lot of content out there, and a lot of the customers I speak to love to talk about themselves. The reality is nobody cares about you, your product, or your company. They only care about themselves and how your product can solve their problems. Before creating content, organizations must define their strategy for content marketing, and most of them don't have any strategy. That includes setting a goal, defining an audience, and understanding how your audience buys, defining the audience persona, and choosing the right mix of content. So your organization needs to commit for the long term to make content marketing produce results. I see too many organizations who commission a white paper, a webinar, and hope they will do wonders for them. What is needed is a long-term integrated approach. To be relevant, your content needs to be consistent, human, and have a point of view. What's the point of having great content if you are speaking to yourself and nobody sees it or uses it? To be effective, content marketing needs to follow a well-thought engagement cycle. That means a cycle that adapts your content to your prospect sales situation. That means you need to tailor the content, produce differently, whether you're speaking to a prospect ready to buy now or one that is just collecting information. In fact, in this B2B environment, about 70% of the information is collected by prospects before they even reach you. So they have collected a lot of information. So you want to make sure that the information they've collected impacts them favorably to consider you a primary choice. You want to become their trusted expert. So before you engage, you need to set the core audience target and what outcome you expect for your audience. Of course, C-level and CFO or VP sales and management, they're interested in how content marketing helps driving sales or reducing churn or saving cost. They want to see a return for their money. So you need to see how you're going to measure that. Clicks and opens are fine, but they're not the true measure for content marketing success. Content marketeers must look past initial response to measure sustained levels of engagement and impact through the whole sales cycle. A number of metrics that we can help you with to measure the progress. So this includes consumption metrics. Is the piece of content I'm producing viewed, downloaded? That helps me measure brand awareness and website traffic. Sharing metrics. Is the piece of content I produce having an impact and being shared, which also measures the level of engagement. Lead generation metrics. Most B2B marketers want to produce and share content that's going to generate leads to impact their bottom line. And of course, sales metrics, which is the shortest way to calculate the return on content, as there's not always an easy and direct relationship between content and sales. So to work, content marketing must be organic and progressive. It takes time. And so unless you're willing to launch, say, at least a program of 6 months, there's really no reason to do anything. You need time to gather the data and correct the process. Content marketing is not a campaign with a start and stop date. We're doing a soft launch at Wi-Fi Offload Summit. In fact, we're working very closely with Klaus and also with Wigo on certain aspects of monetization. So if you do share our vision of content marketing and how it should be produced and nurtured, we would love to meet you in person and discuss your objectives and challenges. In the meantime, you can contact me at the details here to start working towards your goals. Having said that, it is my pleasure to introduce Magnus Johansson, who will be now presenting Wigo. Magnus, please unmute yourself.
Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Claus and Adlane. I have the last 15 minutes of your attention, so I hope I will make it worthwhile. So I will talk a little about, it's more like a teaser presentation of what I will go in more depth at the summit in Palo Alto. So my slides are about how social Wi-Fi awareness, location awareness, and hyperlocation-based communication advertising can help you make money on your free Wi-Fi in high traffic venues. And who are Wigo? Wigo is a short for what is going on, and that's really what we're trying to do. We are both a carrier-grade Wi-Fi operator. We operate out of Lima, Peru. We are in Lima, and Lima is a large city. It's 10 million people, about 3.6 million smartphones, a lot of economy is growing very well, and there was a big lack of connectivity that is cheap, and nothing is cheaper than free for the end user. And the large operators here is a duopoly, and 3G and 4G is still very expensive, and you have a cap on your data consumption. So there was a need in the market. And secondly, to be able to monetize that need, we had to develop something. So we also developed a, if we call it a virtual appliance or cloud service that enables us, ourselves, and now going forward, other operators to monetize their network using social media, location awareness, and hyperlocal advertising, as I said. So we really came from the side of we needed to deploy Wi-Fi, and we needed to deploy it, and we thought that we could charge money for it in the beginning. So we had to do a pivot in our business model that there's few people that will pay a low amount for Wi-Fi if you're an end user. The business, if we call it the B2B side, will pay money, but for end users, it needs to be free, but there is no free lunch. So we developed this front end, if you would, on top of one of our big partners, Aptilo Networks, to be able to deploy this either as a virtual appliance in your data center, or it can be obtained from a cloud service. And we have partners in the US and over in Asia, and we can install this in any cloud and offer it globally. And I think one thing that is different that I want to kind of point out, because I think in the market right now, there's a lot of buzz around what Google is trying to do, perhaps with ruckus around social media and hyperlocation awareness. There is a lot of going on with Cisco and Facebook and others. And I think one of the differences about the, if you call it the Wigo approach, is that you are the owner of your social media profile, and you can allow anyone to use that. And in Wigo, we are asking you, when you log on, to give us access to your profile and certain areas of that has to do with your age, your sex, your perhaps your education, etc. And that is then stored in a local database. It's not told to Google, it's not told to Facebook, it's not told to Twitter. It is you as the owner of the network that gets control of that information with your customer that trusts you in the location that they are visiting. And that way you can now steer the commercial communication with your customer in that brick and mortar place. And I think that is the big difference from where a Facebook owning the information and perhaps sharing it with you as a location, and most likely for a fee. And it's one platform that supports many different business models. In Peru, we have deployed this as hot zones in commercial center, public areas, and sport arenas. We're covering about 9.3 million monthly visitors in these venues. So it has, a very good coverage today. And then Wigo verticals, the education, the hotels, the hospitals, the universities, where we can use the same platform to allow for, if we call it guest access, we can allow for voucher access, we can allow for integration into authenticate you against different systems that is already in place. So it is a very flexible platform that supports multiple business models on one network. And just to say, if we go back to the Wigo, the ISP in Peru, we were formed out of an ISP in early 2013 and transformed it into, we call it next generation Wi-Fi operator. And we launched in December of 2013. And as you can see, it's been growing very, very well. We have reached 180, we're going towards 190, and we believe to be around 450,000 users by the end of this year. So the Wigo experience is something that people love. They don't mind sharing some information about themselves in exchange for a very great Wi-Fi experience in the place that they like to hang. And this is just some basic insights that we are collecting, and we are, we are becoming a big data company. We can collect information about who you, if you call it who you are on an aggregate level, where you are, what you're doing, and use that in getting the excitement up for advertisers to have a new venue to put their very hyper-local advertising to their customers. And some of the things that we have seen in Peru is that people love their hot zone. I mean, this is, if you call it customer loyalty, people are loyal to a certain mall, they are loyal to a certain park, they are loyal to a certain sports arena, etc. And we see, adding Wi-Fi, we have added Wi-Fi to the top 5 mega malls in Lima that has a combined 7 million visitors per month. And there's very little cross-pollination. People, stay in their hot zone 91% of the time. They are very young people, and that comes with the territory of Peru has a young population, but those are the early adopters, the ones that have the smartphones, etc. More males than females. Mobile devices, this is a smartphone. It's 94.5% are smartphones, and 0.5 is tablets and others at this point in time. But it's rapidly growing here year over year when it comes to the internet and the Wi-Fi only devices. Even though there is 4G is being deployed, etc., it's still Wi-Fi is the dominant what people want to use for data. In South America and Peru, perhaps the Android operating system is much larger than the Apple iOS, and that 10% is dropping by the day with BlackBerry. It's really being phased out. And as of the peak hours, I don't think is anything new. Is between 5 and 7, with 6 p.m. being our top when people get online. So, quick what we do and I will get more into this at the summit of how the actual process, and you will see how the screenshots and how the actual process goes when you connect. But in essence, we are collecting what type of device, operating system, etc. that is being connected. We identify the zone. We can divide the APs into zones, and we can identify in what AP or store that you connect from. We identify, if you call it who you are, based on the social profile, but not down to very personal things. But we're trying to walk a thin line there on not being overzealous in knowing who you are, but to make this a good experience in the location, and kind of give you an opportunity to ease into this, to give up some information first and then give up more and more as you see that this is a it benefits you to share your information. And it also tracks your session history. And the way we have set up our service in Peru is that you log on and you get 30-minute sessions of uninterrupted, high-speed Wi-Fi access. And every 30 minutes you are grabbed by the, if we call it the captive portal, and you are presented with a advertising information offer, whatever it is that you want to do. It can be video, it can be static, it can be interactive, all the above. But it is only in that moment of initiating the session. Then we are not, interrupting you during that. So it's a little like watching TV, that you get your commercials every 30 minutes. So in the end, leaving, I hope, some minutes for questions. We call Wigo a win-win-win proposition, that the user receives relevant AdWords information that are, contextual to the location that they are. And they are, if you call it, time sensitive, and give you, I'm here now, if I want to, it's afternoon and there's a special 2-for-1 beer for happy hour, and I'm in the AAP that is close to that bar, I see that advert. And it is because I am at age and I may be a male that is interested in beer. So that's the idea. The advertisers get a whole new platform to reach out to, if you call it, the most coveted group, the 18 to 25-year-olds that are virtual, and you get an opportunity now to connect them to the brick and mortar world. And the hot zones, and these are the venues, becomes more relevant. They offer a service that is very much liked by the users, and they can start to learn more about how to better promote perhaps the virtual and the brick and mortar world together. And with that, I am done. And just to plug my own session that will be on June 18th at 1:35 p.m. And at that session, I will go in more detail around our go-to-market strategy. You will see how the registration process works and get ideas of what we are doing in both communicating and advertising. Look at both the B2C and also the B2B, because it's not just B2C. Deploying this kind of carrier-grade Wi-Fi will also give a great B2B opportunity in these areas. Some lessons learned where we call ourselves a trial and error company that has to rapidly learn from things that we see did not work, and have developed the kind of best practices to go to market, and kind of look a little high level at what does it cost, and what is the cost per registered user, etc., to kind of do a little perhaps mini business case of a venue of building out. And of course, any other questions and answers that I can answer as I'm there on site. So I welcome you all to come there. And with that, thank you very much, and I hand over back to you, Adlane.
Thank you, Magnus. I believe we have managed time very well. We do have a couple of minutes for questions. Before I do that, I just would like to perhaps, if I can launch a second poll. Let me see here. Just a second. Until I find this poll thing here. Let's see here. There you go. Okay. I would like to launch the second poll, which is understanding, how you, what do you think is the most efficient form of content marketing? How you like to see content is something that I'm interested in. There are a number of options in there, including webinars and video interviews and a mix of things, written or video. The objective, of course, for us as a content marketing agency to tailor the offering to your needs. So I still have some answers coming in, and I will be now closing the poll and sharing the results. So since the majority have believe that it's a really mix of the different tools that interested in or they perceive as being more efficient, which absolutely makes sense. Now let's move on to the questions. I have one for you, Magnus. Does the Wigo platform require location-based services on the network in order to be localized marketing? I'm not sure I understand the question, but
I think I understand the question. Yes. So there's two ways. I mean, as long as we know the AP, then you can do a semi-location. But we are using option 82 and that is a common protocol on most carrier Wi-Fi equipment, and use that as the identifier of the AP. And we also take the GPS coordinates of that, and we even, for our own sake, and this is up to, whatever wants to do, we also do for the advertisers, we do almost like a Google Street View around that AP and take photos to show what is close to that AP, what the people will see if they lift up their eyes and look around. So that's what we're doing in these venues.
Okay, excellent.
I don't know if that answered the questions. Yep.
Well, we'll know. Maybe not right now, but I'm sure that hopefully that person that asked the question will be participating to the Wi-Fi Offload Summit where you guys can chat. We do have time for a last question, and we've been managing time very well, and I'm happy about that. When will the market adopt Hotspot 2.0? So I guess, Claus, you can perhaps give your 2 cents on that question. If you unmute yourself.
All right, let me, okay, I hope everybody can hear me.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, so let me give you my 2 cents worth. It's actually already happening. I mean, obviously the standard has been in place for a long time. But let me give you an example. Boingo Wireless, who you can always also meet, by the way, at the Wi-Fi Offload Summit coming up, has already deployed Hotspot 2.0. I think it's in 20-some locations in the United States. And it's actively working, and it's working extremely well from what I've heard. So it is already happening. There's a number of other operators that have deployed it, both for international roaming and for national services. So I can tell you with a great deal of confidence that it is happening. To what extent it will be everywhere is obviously the open question. I think it will be. We will see really strong growth with the Hotspot 2.0 protocol over the next couple of years. The big question is still whether the major tier 1 carriers will decide to get heavy into the carrier Wi-Fi service provider market. I think personally that they will be forced to at some point. And that will also lead to Hotspot 2.0 adoption.
Okay, great. Thanks, Claus. We have time for one final question, and that's for you, Magnus. Is the Wigo platform open to any Wi-Fi equipment, or is there a specific brand for it?
Yes. So we built this from the beginning to be agnostic. So that's the mantra of this. That there are some. If it doesn't have option 82, if it doesn't have certain things, maybe we cannot use it. But it wasn't built to particularly support a Ruckus or any other. But we are working right now with Ruckus. We are working with Cisco. We are looking to do things with Ericsson, Bel Air, etc. So we can pretty much work with any, if you call it, carrier-grade Wi-Fi equipment. And happy to talk to, and in the slides, etc., you have my contact information, and feel free to send email or call me directly, because we are, of course, very interested in finding opportunities. So thank you.
Okay, great. So I want to thank everybody for attending today's webinar, our speakers, of course, for presenting. And just a reminder, this event has been recorded, will be available for replay in the next 24 hours along with the slide deck, and we'll meet you all in Palo Alto. See you then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.